I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask you. The first one is you alluded earlier in the program to having a wonderful support network. You know, your dad, your uncle, Mike, whom we interviewed last week. How much of your progress do you credit to the positive attitude of those men around you who love you and say, no, no, you can do it?
It's a good question, and I reckon it's easily got to be somewhere near 90%.
Wow.
Wow.
And the reason
Okay.
I say that is because the one thing the doctors told me, that all the doctors in the very beginning of my accident were all very negative. They just said, sorry, this is it. This is as good as it gets. This is as
Yeah,
good
they,
as it
they, they
gets.
gave up on you.
But they did say, having said that, they did say, but the power of the mind
Mm,
is such an amazing thing.
couldn't agree more.
And the surgeons nowadays are accepting that the mental attitude towards people or with people that have had injuries and accidents definitely plays a major impact on the level of their recovery.
Mm.
Seriously, but I don't think I'm understating it the slightest. I've been the luckiest guy in the world as far as support goes because the whole of the Avalon community um, has reached out and provided support to me. The guys, and that I'm not forgetting there was one lovely young lady that was helping in the rescue as well, but all of the people, there were 6 people majorly involved in my accident and in my rescue. And it's 2.5 years ago, and I still see and speak nearly to every one of them at least once a week. Your last guest, Mike, who's part of the family now. My dad has known his parents for his whole life kind of thing, but after Mike's and the other guys literally saved my life, yeah, Mike's just part of his whole family is just part of our family now, because Mike and the rest of my rescue team, I'll call them, these guys are checking up on me all the time, and they've been encouraging me, go harder at physio. I mean, Mike particularly,
No
he's
mercy.
been, he's come to a lot of the physio sessions, and he's got so involved, and I've also got some other friends, Louise and Charles, who whilst they weren't there at the time of the accident, but their support's been amazing as well. A friend of mine, Charles, has been there and helped, like, from the legal aspect, the paperwork. Because as I said, my
Mm.
arms and legs were far from perfect, and there was very little I could do in the early stages. And Mike and Charles and the whole of my rescue team, and now it's extended to I've got a group called the Gym Buddies, and my garage has been turned into a gym, and friends from the surf club, my mountain biking group, board riders and people I've grown up with, they've all jumped in and just urged me on. And everyone says, when you get to walk in again, when you get to do this, it's not
Mm.
if. Everyone's
Mm.
very careful. They say every time, it's not if,
Power of
it's
one
when.
word. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that support hasn't just been like the support from the whole of the Avalon community and abroad as well. Hasn't just been for me, it's been for my dad. Because this is a quick side note, 2 days before I had my accident, my older brother was diagnosed with throat cancer and only lasted another 2 months. So
Shit.
Mm.
my dad, in the space of 48 hours, had been told he was going to lose both his sons. And as a parent myself, I can't begin to imagine what it'd be like to lose one child, but to be told you're going to lose two has been
Ooh.
amazing. And yet,
Mm.
um, my dad hasn't missed a day without making contact with me. Admittedly, he only lives up in the next street, fortunately for me.
Well, he didn't when
Um,
you were in the rehab and everything, right? That was an
no,
hour
no,
plus
that's a good
drive,
point.
hour and a half.
Yeah, it was an hour and 15 minutes to the hospital.
Mm.
It was an hour and a half to rehab, and then I had to go to a nursing home while they modified my new accommodation. And my dad's 84, and he was driving, 3 hours a day, an hour and a half each way, just to spend lunch with me, just to be there for an hour and literally hold my hand the whole way through it. And
It's been a great dad.
I'd say he's the best father in the world, but I'm understating that. I'll give him the best father in the universe.
Well, actually, Mark, just on that topic, and it's so poignant for the Me and Him podcast. You know, we started this podcast to have conversations between my father and I and other men, and some of the stuff that you're alluding to now that we've spoken about offline as well, it goes to the very heart of what this is about, is men and fathers and brothers and grandfathers supporting each other. I wondered if you could hark back. You told me a story. I think the line was something like, it's the third time that he'd been told you'd never walk again. Could you possibly start that from the beginning? Because it blew me away.
Okay, so when I was born, I was diagnosed with spina bifida, and there's varying degrees of spina bifida, which is where the spinal column doesn't grow around the spinal cord completely. And depending on the level, some people can be a quadriplegic their whole life. Some people might be paralyzed. In my case, I wasn't walking till a lot later in life compared to average kids, and I couldn't play sports because my internal organs weren't developing properly. Things like bowels, bladder, and all those kind of things weren't functioning.
Can I interrupt you just for a second? We've heard, pardon me, a lot about bullying at school. Were you bullied because you were different, or were the kids support you?
That's a really good question too, Matt, because I was really lucky in that my brother, who was a year older than me, he was kind of one of those most popular guys in the school. He was great at athletics. He was great at swimming. He was everything, every sport. There'd be a sports carnival, swimming, athletics, whatever. He'd win everything all the time. Play football.
I hate those guys.
It was always, he'd always get man of the match and all this kind of stuff every time. And I looked up to him as, like I just wanted to be like my brother the whole time. And it's just because he was so highly regarded, he had so many friends, I never got bullied. Instead, I had the opposite, where everyone saw me as, my brother's name was Paul, but both his and my nickname was Headley, and I was always Little Headley. And everyone at school would always go, "G'day, Little Headley," because I was the younger brother of everyone's best mate kind of thing.
Wow.
And
Offer in the back.
it benefited
That's
me.
incredible.
It benefited me to no end, because with the spina bifida, as I grew up at a younger age, I missed out on a lot of socialising and going out and having sleepovers and things like that. But everyone still knew me because my brother would always have mates coming around, or we'd go pick up my brother from a mate's place, and I was always there. And all of his mates knew me just as well as they knew my brother. And it was like I had 100 big brothers looking after me. And no, I never had a case of bullying. I was actually spoiled. And I must admit, I felt there was a couple of times there going through school where I couldn't stand bullies, couldn't stand them. And I got myself into a few tussles where if there was someone bullying someone else, I'd stick up for the underdog because my brother always stuck up for me. And I know my dad was in the army for the purpose of, wanting to serve and protect and all that. So it's in my family history.